Man, what a bad place to leave that. I'm so mad right now. And it sucks because with so little information known about the continuation of this series, this puts me at like a really bad spot as a reviewer because I loved everything about this show, but now it's like, now there's this stain. There's this uncertainty at the edge there that I just don't know what's going to happen beyond this point. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the finale, episode 11 of the Idaten Deities, No Only Peace. And yeah, I'm pretty upset. It was nice to hear that my theory on it not being Miku is technically correct, as we kind of see how, yeah, this apparently utilizing what they have, they essentially have created faces and masks to basically cover up the Demon Lord as he goes around and messes with things. As we come to find out that, yeah, Miku was they were essentially trying to get Proteus separated from Yeasley and them, because Miku finally has established a few key things, and that is that their biggest target is obviously Yeasley, that she needs to get rid of Yeasley. She wants to get rid of two, but if she can get rid of one of them, the main target would be Yeasley. So their focus was to take him out. Obviously, they end up getting Paula at the same time because, again, she, out of all of them, seems to be the weakest, and so they're trying to take out as many as possible. But it proves once again that both with Miku's mind, her ability to really kind of observe things and create tactics, and along with Obami, they're able to really kind of throw in essentially a counterattack to the Idatens that we would obviously not really see before. I've already kind of downplayed the demons quite a bit as we were watching through the series, but it's still showing that even with a very brilliant mind that is Miku, they can still regain their footing. So that's obviously what they're doing here, as the demons, who seemingly were out of the game, are now back in the game, and they've taken the strongest trump card they have. Well, granted, yes, Rin is the most powerful, but you can still make an argument that the biggest trump card of all of them is Yeasley, because he's the one with the most intelligence. Everybody else, like Rin, she don't care. As long as nobody's touching the seal, she don't care. She don't care what's going on. But yeah, it was interesting, like right off the bat, Rin going to see them and runs into Paula, who's being attacked by Corey, and she immediately was going to go kill Corey, and she's like, wait, what's going on here? And this is where we're getting a lot of inner conflict with Rin herself, as she's like, you know, before, again, all that she was focused on was that seal. It was on what was in the past. She didn't care about what was in the current, but now she sees, okay, now we have a demon who is protecting Paula, an Eden. That doesn't make any sense. The whole situation with everything popping up everywhere, all these demons are popping up, and here also this guy, this old man that she ran into, has the memories of her grandfather and all these others that were in her past. What is going on? Yeah, it did seem like at that point they were trying to cover up the conversation that they were having. Usually, like, cut off the surveillance. We don't want, if Miku's watching this, we don't want her to see this conversation unfold. We don't want her to see the information that we have on the Obami, what Obami is. But unfortunately, it seems like even still, Obami's sent in there undercover as a robot, as one of these people, and ends up capturing Pescate using this gas, and then rewires her back to being on their side, at which point Piscolati ends up revealing everything to Miku of what they figured out, that Obami is from this other side of the seal, and all this other information. Now, it's interesting because it doesn't seem like Miku has revealed that to Obami yet, which is very curious, but she does know what's going on. She has revealed all this other stuff to what they're doing, who's their biggest threat, and what she's been doing. And so, yeah, as Obami's going around pretty much undoing all these brainwashings he's done, fixed Piscolate, fixed Corey, and bringing them back to their side, they have managed to capture, they basically, Yeasley being alone, using Piscolate, ends up capturing Yeasley, and then when Paula comes in with Corey, they end up capturing them too as well. It was funny because when they're trying to check in on Yeasley and them, Gil takes out the cell phone, and they're like, whoa, you've mastered the art of the cell phone? That's crazy. I'm not sure why she busted a hole in the ground before she brought the cell phone out, unless it was buried, or maybe she was trying to get the perfect satellite connection, so she had to go down a little more. I'm not sure exactly what that was about. It was interesting. It kind of sucks because they very briefly showed Gil and her inner conflict. Of course, throughout the episode, they were showing the human Gil doing ceremonies for people that were dead, and she was talking about how she was confused as to what is good and what is evil anymore, which is, I'm sorry, Gil, that's everybody watching the show, which is what makes this show so fantastic, and I'll get into more when I do a review. Um, it's so gray areaing. She doesn't understand what's good and what's bad. The eating is good, the demon's bad. What is exactly what is that gray area, and how do you figure out what's good, and how can you coexist? Because obviously she's struggling because of the fact that, and they show this conversation with the human Gil and the Eden Gil talking to Yeasley and Prontea. And like I said, it really sucks that we didn't get to see that first introduction between the two of them. It just immediately jumps to them both standing in front of Yeasley and trying to persuade him to allow them to coexist. And I really do like this moment because, again, similar to our thought process, is that it's trying to humanize the demons at this point. It seemed like that was the case, especially in the last episode. Like I said, when they killed off 2 of the demons, it was like, crap. I kind of felt bad for them. But again, it's really trying to hit on this idea of the coexistence. It's the fact that, the Takeshita was trying to help Gil, is because there can be a coexistence. But like what Prontea was saying, so you're going to go capture 1,000 human babies and give it to the demons? That's the only way that they can procreate and keep existing with the humans. Well, no, I don't really want that, but I want coexistence. It's like you're asking for an impossibility because they're so at odds with each other. Their existence requires their suffering, and their suffering requires their existence. It's this constant thing back and forth that it's an impossibility. It's kind of like one of my thoughts when I was talking about Peach Boy Riverside. That show is kind of hitting on that idea of this character wants coexistence, but it's impossible. It sucks because you want it, but it can't happen. In a brief scene, we kind of see that it seems like Miku and the other one is not really getting pregnant, and Umio is kind of getting bored. So it's kind of establishing there that they're not really doing good at, I guess, procreating. And then finally, the big kind of uncomfortableness that's happening towards the later part of this episode is obviously they have Yeasley and Paula pretty much unable to move because they've chopped off all their arms and legs, and now they're doing experiments on them. And yeah, that's pretty much where they leave it. They show briefly, Prontea figures it out that something happened, so he goes to find Yeasley and ends up seeing that he's gone from there. And obviously they've broken control, or they've broken communication, so obviously something happened with Piscalate as well. He's kind of deduced that, yeah, Piscalate probably was, restored to her original self, and that they captured Yeasley and Paula. And while Rin's trying to find out where they're at, she's knocking around Gil and saying, where are they at? What's going on? She rushes around and tries to find them, destroying the entire world, running around trying to find them. But yeah, it pretty much leaves it on the note that these two are now captured and being experimented on. It was funny because one of them was like, I'm going to put her through so much pain. I'm going to do all this stuff to her. And they're not even responding. They just don't really respond with the same screams that they would assume that they would because they're Idadens. But it was uncomfortable. But again, that's the whole aspect of this writer. Amahara just has no filters. This writer has 0 filters. And yeah, so it's not going to really hide from anything. So this torture is really going to go on. And unfortunately, like I said, that's where they leave it. Just a really bad stopping point. Again, I'll get into this again with the review, but I'm so upset at this point because I've been enjoying this show so much. It's doing so many things that are just interesting. Yes, they're unsettling, but like I said, Amahara, the writer, just doesn't have filters, and I actually like that. I like the ability for a writer to just do things that are uncomfortable. They're hard to watch. Yes, I still hate that first scene that last scene in the first episode because of the way it was portrayed was whimsical. But the rest of the show has always been, let's do the most unsettling things because I want to, and I have something to tell. And it's telling something. It's telling something about the nastiness of all these different sides that can't coexist. And that's interesting to me. Now, the unfortunate thing that obviously that comes from this is, from what I'm reading from several sources, is that the novel that this was based off of is on hiatus. It's apparently been on hiatus for 5 years now. And it is being adapted into a manga by Cool-kyou, who of course is the writer of Miss Kobayashi Dragon Maid. And apparently the manga is not caught up to where the anime got to. And so when you have the mangas not getting caught up, or not caught up yet, you have the light novels on hiatus, it really does beg the question of, what do we do from here? Why was this adapted? Did they adapt this because they wanted to give advertisement to the manga that's being adapted from it? Or are they trying to gauge interest so that the writer gets back into the story? Possibly they're trying to respark this light novel to get back into adaptation. That's the struggling thing. Is I'd hope. So the two scenarios that can happen here, the worst scenario is that they're just trying to advertise the manga. That sucks because that means we'll probably never get anything more because it's not even caught up yet. The two positive is that either with Amahara at the head, can they go anime original and continue the story with the original writer? Or is this all a thing to respark interest, gauge interest to see if the writer wants to continue on with the light novel? I don't know. It's I think it's a web manga or web novel, by the way. I don't either way, novel. It's struggle. It's a struggle for me because, like I said, when I review this, I'm obviously going to have to point out it's hard for me to recommend it because it's not complete and it has a really bad cliffhanger. They are not in a really good spot at the very end of this, and so, but I can't really claim it's a source material bait because it's not. There's no source material there. So, what do you say here? All I can say is that I hope something comes from this. I hope MAPPA, the producers, whoever's putting into this, has a plan going forward. I hope that Amahara continues on because, like I said, I love this world so far. It has me by the teeth, and I want more badly. It was great. I loved it so much, and I want more. I guess from here, what does it really leave us? It's a struggle because we're obviously taking this from multiple angles. Obviously, with Gil, it's this desire for coexistence. From the side of the demons, it's a twofold. Miku seems like she's trying for self-interest, even at the gain or the loss of Obami. Because, like I said, it doesn't show Miku tell Obami that he is from the other side of the seal. So she knows this, but she's possibly keeping it from Obami. Why would she do that? Does she fear the idea that Obami is an Idaten, and if he knows, he will turn on her? That's a very interesting route they could end up going with. Because, like, right now, Miku's, like, my favorite character of the show. She is so smart. And I love... there's nothing that gets me more invested in a show than having a character who is so smart, and the way that they write it is not to say they're smart for the sake of being smart. She's smart in how she acts, and she's self-interest is still there. So the way they're writing her is very clever and very interesting. At the same time, from the Eden side, we have multiple facets there too. Yeasley, I've always viewed him as being selfish as well, but he always seems to pull the Edens together. He hasn't turned on the Edens at this point. Similarly, Rin seems to be a very big question mark as she's discovering how the world is, even though she's always been isolated from it. And I'm curious to see if once she finds out what the identity of Obami is, how that's going to affect her. Because it did seem like they were going to reveal that to her, but they didn't show it actually revealed. I think Yeasley was saying, I don't think that he's figured it out yet, talking about Hayato. So I'm guessing that's an aspect that he didn't reveal anything to Rin, but obviously Yeasley doesn't seem like he's against her knowing, because he was allowing Hayato to say something. But at the same time, I don't think he's wanting to be forward with that information because he may be afraid, similar to what we were mentioning, of Rin turning on them if she knows that Obami is actually her grandfather or the others that she loves so much. But the last little question mark that's in play, obviously what they're trying to paint the savior of Yeasley and Paula being is Corey. And I really do like this because at the same time they were paralleling the coexistence statements that Gil was making. The one thing they were trying to hedge that feeling on was Corey being conflicted that Paula was in pain. Even though he was rewired back, he still had feelings for Paula. And he obviously wants to help her. Even as she's crying out for pain, he was there. He was struggling. And it was so funny because when the door was closing, I thought that he was going to, creep in there and go to save her. But that was like, boom, that's the end. I'm like, what? This is where you're ending it? What? It is so frustrating. But at the same time, I hope this gets more. This so badly needs more. I really wasn't expecting they were going to drag the demons out this far. Because like I said, I was really discounting them. But the writer's doing something really clever with it. And I hope the reason why it's on hiatus is not because they just got to this point where they're like, I don't know what to do with these characters anymore. I really do hope that they have some sort of desire to get into. But that's the struggle. It's like I don't want Amahara to force a story to exist. But at the same time, I want more. It's the ongoing struggle. You don't want to force a writer to continue when they're in a block. But at the same time, you just beg for more. So, yeah. I don't know. A side of me has me hoping that they'll at least bring Amahara on the helm and give this maybe an OVA or a movie that will complete it. If they don't have a desire to get back to it, but I don't. Again, like I said, I don't want them to force it. So, anyways, I've been talking way too much. I hope you guys have enjoyed my impressions of the finale for Idaten Deities No Only Peace. As always, I appreciate you guys sticking with me on a weekly basis as we went through the show. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Leave in the comments, let me know what you thought of this finale, and if you're hoping for more. Support us on Patreon if you can. We definitely appreciate everybody that does. And if you can, again, subscribe. Stick with us as we get into the next season. Again, I'll be doing reviews of all these shows of this current season, as well as in first impressions and weekly impressions on certain shows going into the next season, as well as other things such as news, live streams, and everything else. Hope you all enjoyed, and y'all take care.